evening. Thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to the Coles County League of Women Voters School Candidate Forum. My name is Jan Allison. I'm a member of our local chapter. We want to thank everyone for coming. This is a big deal. It's a big race for us, and there's a lot on the line. So I appreciate everyone coming out tonight to hear what our candidates have to say. If anyone needs a restroom or water, they are directly out these doors and to the right. For over 100 years, the League of Women Voters has worked to empower voters, defend democracy, and increase civic engagement in the U.S. The League of Women Voters of Coles County meets every third Thursday in alternating locations between Charleston and Mattoon. If you can want any more information on us, we do have a sign-up sheet for our email list out in the lobby, and also you can catch up with our activities on Facebook at LWV Coles County. The League is a nonpartisan group, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties of any level of government. The League believes that informed and active participation in government is a foundational principle to a strong democracy. The League empowers civic engagement by all people, works to increase the understanding of public policy issues, and influences change through education and advocacy. The League activates voices at the ballot box by providing voter resources such as voter registration, voter guides, and candidate forums like this one. The candidates tonight are expected to accurately represent the facts. The League is not responsible for the accuracy of statements made by candidates. It is the responsibility of the public, news media, opposing candidates, etc., to fact-check the statements made by the candidates if necessary. Joining us tonight is the League of Women Voters of Illinois Voter Services Chair, Roberta Marino. A distance to give us some support this evening for our first event. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce tonight's moderator, Tricia Crowley, to go over this evening's ground rules and how the event will operate.
Hello. My name is Tricia Crowley, and I'll be the moderator this evening. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Champaign County. These are the ground rules for tonight's forum. These rules were sent to each candidate in advance and were agreed upon in order to participate. Invitations were sent to all 8 candidates. Candidate Roy Blackburn was unable to attend. Each candidate will get a 2-minute opening and a 2-minute closing statement. They will each get 1 minute to respond to each question. Time will be kept, and time updates will be given to the moderator and the candidates. When the allotted time has expired, candidates will be allowed to finish their sentence before the moderator interrupts. I'm really mean about that. Candidate questions were submitted by the public and were sorted for duplication by League members. Over 40 questions were submitted. We will probably only get to about 10, and therefore, many of the questions that were submitted will not be able to get to. Each question will be asked of each candidate. My job is to enforce the time limits and the ground rules agreed to by the candidates. And in order to get through as many questions as possible, please do not applaud after each candidate, but only when the forum is completed and we have opening and closing for all candidates. So I'm not a constituent of any of these members since I live outside of Coles County. Candidates get random drawing for the order in which they will give their opening statements. And any campaign paraphernalia, buttons, backgrounds, etc., were not permitted inside the auditorium, and we ask that there be no video or audio recording or photography from the audience. The League of Women Voters of Coles County will post a recording of this event to our YouTube page as soon as possible. The candidates agree that they, their organizations, their campaign, and their supporters will not use the forum, portions of the forum, or audio clips, video clips, or transcripts for political advertising without written permission from the League of Women Voters of Coles County. And with that, let's introduce our candidates. We have, in order, Mr. Erb, Mr. Branson.
Goodness, man, we can't say that.
Okay. Ms. Hampton, Mr. Uphoff, Ms. Larson, Mr. Hedges, and Mr. Stewart. Okay, let's begin. Okay, we'll start with the opening statement. 2 minutes for the opening, and Mr. Erb, you will start.
Good evening, I'm David Erb, and tonight I want to just share a few passions of mine. My first passion is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And while I admit I'm not perfect, I have built my life on Christian principles and continue to do so as a member and trustee at First Baptist Church. My second passion is my family. My wife Lisa's here tonight, a little high in the front row here. I'll pay for that later. But she's been a huge support through this. I think as many of us know sitting up here, it's not easy at times on our families. So I want to thank her for the support. I have 4 children, 3 of which are graduates from the Mattoon School District, and one currently as a junior in the high school. Grace is a 2020 graduate. Chloe is a 2022 graduate. Ashley is a 2024 graduate, and Brooke is going to be a 2026 graduate next year. The last minute here, I will talk about my third passion, and that's my career. In 1996, almost 29 years ago, I started at Lakeland College as a public servant in education. And it's meant a lot to me over those years. Started out as a third shift custodian in the gym, and throughout that time, you learn a lot of things through the years. I worked many years, many nights that were tough, and eventually made my way up to supervisor of print and mail services and assistant men's basketball coach throughout those times. So I want to bring those things, and we're going to talk tonight about several issues. I'm sure that we can learn more about me, but thank you for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Branson.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. A little bit about me. I'm married to Sherry Branson. She's also sitting here in front. We've been married 35 years. We have 2 children, 2 grown men, a 29-year-old and a 25-year-old, Chase and Connor. They are graduates of the Mattoon School District, also graduates of Illinois State University. I'm currently employed with the Lakeland College Police Department as their chief of police. I retired from the City of Mattoon Police Department after 28.5 years of service as their chief of police. I've been in community service, public service for 35 years. And I enjoyed it, working with the community, and look forward to, if I'm voted on, getting the opportunity to work with the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton.
Good evening. Thank you so much to all of you for taking time out of your evening to be here. My name is Angela Hampton. I'm married to John. We've been married for 21 years. We have 3 daughters. Our oldest daughter is a junior at EIU. She's a graduate of Mattoon High School. And then we have daughters who are juniors and freshmen, respectively, at the high school. I obviously have enjoyed my time as a parent in the district. My girls moved from a private school to our district when they were in 1st, 3rd, and 6th grade, respectively. So I did serve on the St. John's School Board for several years. And since we've been in the public school district, I've enjoyed being a room parent and a PTA vice president and president, a Class E mentor, and I've enjoyed speaking at Futures Day. I'm really passionate about my career, which is in marketing and fundraising. For 25 years, I've been able to work with small to mid-sized businesses and nonprofit organizations to help them grow through fundraising and marketing campaigns and effective strategies. And now I'm a small business owner. I own a marketing agency that serves small to mid-sized businesses and nonprofits. I began attending school board meetings with my husband in 2020. Just in an effort to stay engaged and informed as parents in the district, and I've enjoyed that process. I hope that those experiences will be valuable to the school board, and I believe very strongly that every district employee, every student, and every parent deserves to have a voice and a seat at the table, to be heard and respected without fear of reprisal. So that's one of the things that I need to bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Uphoff.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's so great to see a turnout like this from our community. Really appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy schedules. It really shows how much you care and how much you're invested in our public schools. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us this evening and giving us the opportunity to share our hearts and our views with all of you. My name is Jake Uphoff. I'm one of 6 candidates running for the 4-year term in the upcoming election. I'm a proud graduate of Mattoon High School and the University of Illinois. I live in rural Mattoon, south of town, with my wife, Hannah, who is in the second row. And we're excited to be expecting our first child here in just a few weeks, our little girl, so we're excited about that. I bring experience as a local business owner, which I think gives me a strong understanding of financial management and strategic planning. I co-own and operate Uphoff Family Farm with my dad, also in the second row, my uncle, and my cousin. After graduating from the University of Illinois, I returned home and have been actively involved in my church, serving on the Board of Trustees. I've always been engaged with the community and our schools, working with local organizations to support students and teachers. I currently serve on the Mattoon FFA alumni and the Coles County Young Leaders through the Illinois Farm Bureau. My time on the Mattoon School Board has given me valuable insight into school operations, budgeting, and long-term planning. I'm committed to ensuring the Mattoon schools continue to build on their academic progress and provide opportunities for every student to succeed. As a graduate of Mattoon High School and a lifelong Mattoon resident, I want our community and this board to be proud of our school district. My passion for education, community involvement, and responsible leadership motivated me to serve and to run in this election. Mattoon schools have a strong sense of community support and excellent staff who are dedicated to student success, and I look forward to supporting that effort.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Good evening. Thank you to the women voters for hosting us for this forum, and thank you for the community members for coming out tonight to listen to this important discussion. I'm a wife to Chad Larson, and I also have 3 children. Christian is at Lakeland College, and I have 2 students in the Mattoon High School, a junior and a senior, Ava and Cole. A little bit about my qualifications and background. I'm a psychologist, a licensed counselor. I've been at Eastern as a professor for 20 years, educating school counselors. I work with 26 school districts, placing interns. I have volunteered at Mattoon High School for 11 years, beginning the Bionic Mentoring Program. And for the last 4 years, I have served you at the Mattoon School Board. I have 3 goals. Number 1, transparency and truth. And everything that I've shared with you as a community is true. From academic test scores, to a conflict of interest, to fiscal mismanagement. Excuses are plenty, but no one has ever said it was untrue. I ask questions because you cannot manage what you do not measure. I do my best to represent the community interest as goal number 2. Number 3, I want our teachers to feel supported and our students to have the resources they need to be successful. Have you ever seen a more contested election in Mattoon? Ever? 8 candidates, 4 positions, so many signs around town, and a ton of activity on social media. I want you to think about it for a second. What does that tell you? Why is there so much interest in election for a thankless volunteer position? Simply put, this election really comes down to 2 groups. A group that recognizes the issues and proposes solutions and that has high expectations and wants our district and students to succeed. A second group that perhaps maybe wants to rubber stamp proposals and often not ask questions. In closing, I mentioned that I work with 26 local districts, and based on their feedback, no other school board operates like Mattoon. I want to thank you, and I think we can do better.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
Hi, my name is John Hedges. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters. I put on a forum similar to this last week. I know what goes into this, so thank you. I'd like to thank my wife, 19 years, for being my support throughout this campaign and also throughout our marriage. I've got 1 child here, an 8th grader from Mattoon Middle School, Camden, sitting in the front row. He has been my canvasser, my door-to-door person with me every weekend, knocking on doors. My daughter, Elena, who's not here tonight, had a work obligation, has also been a great support. She's a junior at the high school. I'm running on 4 key points. Security. Our kids need to be safe. As a 20-year veteran of the Mattoon Police Department, I know what goes in to getting our kids to school, keeping them safe, and keeping our staff and educators and administration safe as well. College and vocational pathways. I want our kids, when they leave Mattoon High School, to have somewhat of an idea on where they're going. Not all kids are going to go to college, not all kids are going to go into the vocations, but they both need pathways so they know and have a little bit of a head start by going to the Mattoon School District. Accessibility for all students. Unfortunately, I've seen the best that this town has to offer, and I've also seen the absolute worst that this town has to offer. And that should not be a deterrent for any child in our district. And the last thing is teacher support. I want our teachers to know that I have their back. As a former substitute teacher, while also being in law enforcement, I know somewhat of what they go through on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart?
Good evening. Thank you all for coming. I very much appreciate it. Seeing a crowd like this is really, really good for the community. It means we've got a lot of interest. It means we've got a lot of people that are interested in the kids. I've been living in Mattoon for 20 years now, since 2005. My voice is going to give up on me. I married my wife Megan back in 2005. We currently have 2 children. I have a senior that's finishing up a baseball game currently, and I have a daughter that's a freshman. My whole life has been dedicated to the trades. When I graduated from Lakeland, I co-owned and operated an excavation company with my father for 10 years, and then I was able to get on with the railroad for the last 14. Since then, I've done pretty much every type of construction you can think of. I've served on the MJBL board here in town. I've coached everything, baseball, basketball, football, as my child came up, and have volunteered many, many hours doing so. I also currently serve as the chairman of the property tax board here in Coles County. And my biggest concern for the school board is I'm a big numbers guy. I love transparency when it comes to numbers. And when it comes to how tax money is spent, I have to answer a lot of questions. People are very angry when they come to the Coles County Property Tax Review Board. People are mad. And the best way to defend against anger is people to know where things are going. So when it comes to taxpayer money, that's what I want. I just want everything to be laid out on the table so everybody knows where everything's going, and there's no questions, no hidden anything. It's all there on the table. Secondly, I would say I want kids, like John mentioned, I want kids to have options when they leave school, whether they go to the trades or whether they go to the college. And I want both of those options to be clear, present, and available for those kids.
Thank you. We'll move to questions, and feel free to ask me to repeat the question. So we'll start with Mr. Branson. Move down the row there. Why are you running to be a member of the Mattoon School Board?
Okay. I'm running for the Mattoon School Board. I've been in 35 years of public service. During the course of my career, I've had the opportunity to work with the school district on almost a day-to-day basis in different parts of my career. When I was a detective, I was a juvenile officer. I ran the diversionary programs, teen court, and other programs as well. As I came up through the ranks, especially when I became deputy chief and chief, I worked very closely with the community. I know the demographics, probably John and I know the demographics as well as anybody else, and I want to make a difference. I want to help every kid get a great education. I want every kid to feel safe when they go to school, not only physically, but mentally as well. And I think that with my experience with the school district through the years, I think I can help move it forward.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton, why are you running to be a member of the Mattoon School Board?
Thank you. Well, for starters, I'm hoping through my service to the community and through my business to help build a community that my children want to stay in and raise their children in. And so much like the mission of the League of Women Voters to help people be informed, active participants in government, that's what I've tried to do and tried to model for my children by coming to board meetings for the last several years. I've seen a lot of great things happen in our district, both through the board and through my time as a mom, but I've also witnessed some things that I think need to improve. Things like transparency in budget hearings, and just ensuring that parents in the community and students in the community have a satisfactory answer and response to their concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Umpah.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'm running for the Mattoon School Board really just to serve and to give back to this community, the community that made me who I am today. You know, I love this place, I love these people. I want to see us, to all as a community, be able to look at the school district and see success in all facets of the school district. I want to win. I want to win in the classroom, I want to win on the field, and I want to win in the community. I think the board members that sit on this board should reflect the values of our community. Values like respect, professionalism, and a shared commitment to academic excellence. I want our town and our proud to be, I want our town and our board to be proud of the successes of our school district. Having pride in our community is something we should all do, and I think that starts at the school level. We need strong leadership on this board that puts students first, supports families and teachers, and keeps our schools moving forward in a positive direction.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Thank you. I am a Lutheran, and I remember St. John's asking me to serve on their board, and I served 2 terms. They have term limits, and I'm really proud of the work we did there, and I never knew how important a school board member is until serving there for 8 years. I want what's best for taxpayers. I want what's best for students. I want to support teachers. Being with Bionic for 11 years, I could see some things from the perimeter that were really going well. For example, we have incredible staff. We have a robust budget of $50 million for a relatively small town. However, I can also see some areas of growth, and I am blessed with being in multiple districts. Number one, our academic performance needs some help. We have a culture that needs assistance. We want to, like Jake said, we need to win in the classroom, we need to win with our administration, and we need to win on the athletic field. That's what helps keeps kids engaged in school, want to learn, and want to come and be their best self.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
After graduating college in 2003, police jobs were hard to come by. I needed a job that was flexible, and I could go to police testing, but also make a little money on the side until I was hired. I landed on substitute teaching. I've been a sub in this district since 2003. I've kind of been involved in this district since that day. There's not been 1 year where I have not filled out some sort of tax form for the school district until I went to the detective section in 2019, where I became a detective, and it was an 8-to-4 job. A job that did not allow me to sub. When I started that job, as luck would have it, a position on the board came open, and I thought, who better than me? Somebody that knows our community, the ups, the downs, the highs and the lows. And that's why I'm running for this board again. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Yes, why I'm running. I started attending board meetings during COVID, mainly because I wanted to know how we were going to navigate that nightmare that hopefully we never have to go through again. But as I started to continue going to board meetings, I noticed that I'm a big questions guy. I ask a lot of questions. If I don't know, I'm going to ask, and if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find it out. And from a citizen standpoint, there weren't a lot of questions being answered in those meetings. And from a taxpayer standpoint, there wasn't a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, transparency with the budget. And that's what sparked my interest. And that's essentially why I'm running. I want to make sure there's clarity in what's going on in the school system and clarity for the taxpayers.
Thank you. Mr. Herb.
Some in the room might know that in 2021, I actually applied for the resignation position that Susie Braun had created. Did not receive that, obviously, at that point, but I have been engaged fully since that point. I will admit online, I've watched every meeting due to a super busy schedule. As you can imagine, I have 4 daughters playing volleyball. I have lots of obligations with the college and that type of thing. But I want to bring my experience. I want to bring the things that we've done at the college through budgeting and personnel and those types of things. And we use a word called teamship at Lakeland College. I want to bring some teamship to this district and do some things that are really good for the kids.
Thank you. Second question, we'll start with Ms. Hampton. A well-functioning school board builds public trust and supports the learning and development of all students. What personal skills will help you collaborate well with all members of the board, the administration, teachers, and parents?
Great question. Really, that's what I do every day. Building relationships and building bridges is an integral part of building plans that help businesses and nonprofit organizations grow. When someone's trusting you with their reputation for their business, the blood, sweat, and tears they put in over the years, obviously trust is a huge part of that. And no two people that I work with are the same, much like no two people up here are the same. And so that's what I love about what I do, looking at all different situations with a different viewpoint, getting a 360-degree view of the real data and the real facts and the real concerns, and then building a strategic plan to help grow in those strengths and combat those weaknesses. So I feel like that's the primary strength, and then of course having an understanding of ways that we can help our district and efforts like LIFT continue to grow.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connell.
Yeah, I think a characteristic that a board member needs to keep in the front of their mind, first and foremost, would be integrity. I think a board member has to be sitting at the table for the right reasons, striving for academic excellence, promoting civic engagement, and showing the proper decorum in a public open meeting. Over the past 18 months, I've been able to sit on the board, and I am hopeful and confident that I've been able to hold true to those values and to those goals that I hold close to my heart. When a board member lacks integrity, it makes it difficult, I think, for the rest of the board to be able to trust that person or that group of people, and then you lack that teamwork that I think is necessary. We have to be able to work together for the betterment of our kids and the betterment of our community as a whole.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Yes, thank you. As a psychologist, this is the backbone to your training. I spend the last 20 years training counselors on interpersonal skills, to be able to listen, to be able to understand, and to be able to collaborate. We're solving people's mental health issues, which are often complicated and difficult. One of the things that I value serving on multiple boards in the state of Illinois currently is discussion, perspective, listening, and coming up with the best answer. Currently, we meet once a month because of OMA, and we have the only opportunity is during our board meeting to actually discuss and learn perspectives of the 7 of us at the actual board meeting, and I wish we had more of that. In addition to that, remembering that the reason we are there as board members is students first, and we cannot lose sight of that. And I think that's how you build relationships with parents, the community, and teachers.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
You know, in my police job, we have to talk people into sometimes doing things that they don't want to do. Putting on a pair of handcuffs, leaving their family, going with us, admitting to things that no person should really wants to admit to. And we have that job to get that out of the people. How we do that is we treat people with respect. We show them our integrity, and we show that we can sympathize with them, even if we cannot sympathize with them. The fact of the matter is that on this board, we have to work. Nobody can get anything done on this board without a majority vote of the board. It has to be 4 members or more, and you have to build relationships with your individual board members so that they trust you and know that your integrity and compassion is just as strong as they are. And on this board, I can safely say that every single one of us, at least on my end, talk in a respectful manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
Yes, I would say the main skill, in my opinion, that makes a good board member is the ability to get along, agree or disagree constructively, In my current job, I work with people from all over the country, and everybody's got their own ideas on how things should function and how things should work. At the end of the day, we all have to make one goal happen, and I think the ability to problem solve and decipher through that is a strong characteristic of a board member, because you're not always going to agree with somebody else's idea, but you have to find common ground, because it's not about us, it's not about our opinions on the board, it's about what moves the school forward and what betters the kids. Thank you.
Mr. Erb.
As a coach, especially at a junior college, we have a new team every year. That's a new set of players. That's a new set of folks that come in as the star on their team, coming into a situation where they might not be that anymore. And it's when they set their egos aside and start acting as team members when we start winning. I want to bring that philosophy to it. I want to bring that mindset into a situation where we might not agree always, but we can be respectful at the end of the day and walk away. Thank you.
Mr. Brett.
Thank you. Over the last 20 years of my career, I've been on many boards, more than I care to count. And I can tell you I've been on successful boards and I've been on boards that are not successful. One of the key factors in a successful board is everybody moving toward a common goal. And as several said up here, you have to let your ego put it aside and you have to work what's for the best for the group. I think that what I bring to this table is I know how to negotiate. I know how to deal with people. As John said, we spent our entire career getting people to cooperate and move forward. I think one of the things this board has lacked is cooperation and moving forward as a team. And what I would try to bring back to this board is a team effort to move forward as a team.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Osborne. During the last school board elections and at recent school board meetings, much has been made of student standardized test scores as a measure of student achievement. Are you personally concerned about the performance of district students on standardized tests? And if so, how do you propose to improve it?
Yeah, your question worded, am I concerned about the current standardized test scores? And I think the simple and short answer to that would be yes, that my goal as a board member would always be to see that those scores rise year to year and test by test. I think it's important to look at some facts, and I've got some numbers I'd like to share with everyone this evening. Our lowest standardized test scores this year was in math. It's important for us to all know and recognize that in this current school year, 24-25, Mattoon students are in the top 30% nationally in improvement rates or growth, specifically in math. We are making incredible strides in the classroom, and when I say we, it's not even accurate. The teachers and our administration are making incredible strides in our classroom. It's imperative that we keep this momentum going, keep our students and our teachers motivated, and celebrate their successes as we see that growth and as we see that improvement.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Yes, I'm very concerned about our standardized test score. I've talked lots about this. The current seniors at Mattoon High School are 13.9% proficient in math, 20% proficient in English, and the last time we touched the state average was 2019. Chicago Public Schools has outperformed us the last 4 years. Standardized test scores are not required for all institutions because Pritzker has made a law in Illinois that they are not required. However, all merit aid and scholarship money is tied to the standardized test score. I also think it's super important that 58% of our high school students go on for a post-secondary education. It is our job as a school board to make sure that every student is prepared for their future endeavor, whatever that may be. Lastly, I think we need to focus on the turnover rate in math and English in the district, because I think the growth rates that Jake talks about are present, but something happens between 8th grade and junior year when taking those standardized tests. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
Yes, I say I'm concerned with the test scores. I don't think that you're going to hear somebody say otherwise in the district. What I think is important to note here is that all the teachers in our district work collaboratively together to fix these scores. They're meeting with each other. They're going over what's working, what's not working, where can we improve, what is the next best steps. And I think that's important to note that we don't see that every day because we're not in the schools every day. When I go into the schools to do visits at each school, I'm seeing the teachers on their breaks working with other educators on a teacher's or on a student's needs. What are we improving? What can we do better? That's questions that get asked in our hallways every day. But to answer the question, yes, they do need to improve.
Mr. Stewart?
Again, obviously, all the test scores, they need to improve. I would say since 2019, the scores in general have dropped. Now, we had COVID, like I said, in 2020. The one main shift that we had from 2020 was the reliance on Chromebooks, reliance on screens. And because that was used so much in 2020, we need to go back and maybe look at what was working and what was functioning well prior to that to see what maybe we could pull from past experiences to maybe bring those test scores back up. And like John said, the teachers are working their tails off. And we understand that. And we need to collaborate, maybe go back and see what exactly was causing our scores to be where they were in 2019, and maybe what has changed since then that has driven our scores down.
Thank you. Mr.
The answer is yes. Having 4 daughters, starting in 2020 graduate, I've seen the decline personally. I've watched and experienced each daughter struggle a little bit harder each time to achieve that highest goal. One of the things that stand out to me that I want to look at, don't have all the information as an outsider looking in, but test retakes stand out to me, project deadlines stand out to me, and limited use of phones in the classrooms also stand out to me.
Thank you. Mr. Branson?
The answer is yes, and I think we should never be satisfied. You know, some up here think the score's real bad, some think there's improvements. I'm in the middle. I think absolutely we need to improve our scores. We constantly, even when the scores are good, we need to constantly move forward. And what I propose is that we've got a great foundation of employees and staff. I propose is we need to meet with our teachers, we need to meet with our administrators, and we need to meet with, and find out what they need to achieve their goals. Yes, we are coming off of a COVID year. I'm not using that as an excuse. But there's a lot of challenges outside of that. There's a lot of demographic challenges. There's a lot of families that are struggling. We need to find out what it takes to get these scores up. And how we do that, we go to the source. We go to the teachers, we go to the administration, and we say, hey, what do we need? And I would love to be on those committees to listen to the teachers so we can move forward.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton?
Thank you. Obviously, we're all concerned about test scores, but this isn't an issue that's unique to our district. This is a nationwide issue, especially since COVID. And really, my concern is less with the scores and more with standardized testing in general. Children are not standard, and so to give them a standardized test, in some cases, I think is unrealistic and unfair, not only to the child, but to the teachers. The pressure on our teachers to help these children perform, I think often detracts from opportunities to really learn and engage in the educational process. Ultimately, test scores don't change climate and culture. Climate and culture change test scores.
Thank you. We're going to start with Ms. Larson. Chronic absenteeism is sitting near 30% in the Mattoon School District. What solutions do you propose for increasing attendance throughout the district?
Yeah, thank you very much. One of the things I'm most proud of is running the Bionic, believe it or not, I Care mentoring program at Mattoon High School with Ms. Sinclair. We have proven data that it increased attendance, it decreased behavior, and it increased student involvement. And I think all three of those things help with chronic absenteeism. I believe that mentoring should happen K-12. I've published in World News and World Report on mentoring. It's incredibly an important part. As many of the board candidates up here mentioned, we have challenges in our community, but they're not unique. Many school districts, if you looked at the Illinois report card, all have absenteeism and truancy. When you have a winning culture where students feel like they belong, they want to come to school. Many children would prefer coming to school than staying at home. So we need to look at our schools, understand the people who they're meeting with, and how do we help kids feel loved, cared, and belonging, and we will help increase the rate of absenteeism.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
Thank you. So absenteeism is a chronic problem in Mattoon. Like Ms. Larson said, it's a statewide problem as well. We need to get to know these kids, what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Our principals, our deans, our teachers, to a respect, need to know what our kids are going through, and then they can help the other programs in the district, including the counselors, including the administration, including the police department, including Lifelinks and the regional office. We need to get other people involved. It's not just a one-person problem. It's a community problem. All of us have to work together to bring these kids into the building so they can succeed and break the cycle of poverty and stress. Sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart.
I would say the best, in my view, the best way to battle chronic absenteeism would be, you've got kids, we don't know what backgrounds they come from, we don't know what home life they have, we don't know what stresses they have as far as where they're getting their next meal, how they're going to get to school. We don't know what that is. What we can make sure is that when they get to school, it's an environment that's inviting, it's an environment where they feel like they belong, where they feel like somebody's waiting for them to get there. I'll give props. I heard a story of Michelle Sinclair. She had a list this long of kids that she would personally call every morning to make sure that they either had a ride, they were awake. And when you have somebody that maybe doesn't have somebody at home caring for them, and they get that phone call in the morning, and they get that, hey, somebody's concerned about me, it gives them a little bit more motivation to drive. It's the same as when you're coaching. If you have a coach that cares, you're going to be more likely to go to bat for him, to run through a wall for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Earp.
Can I say ditto? There's a lot of good information there, and I think this is a culture piece. I think that these kids need to feel welcome when they get to school, and I think we do for the most part. But there needs to be more of that. I think there's also a parental piece that we need to try to engage the parents in that conversation, and maybe incentivize those situations. You know, as somebody that's not in the school district at this point, just looking on the outside, I do believe that we've got to show some real care for these folks and these students and go down that path.
Thank you, Mr. Branson.
This is a very, very tough situation, and I've dealt with it most of my career. And I would tell you, community involvement, parental involvement is your answer. Now, the question is, how do you do that? I don't have the correct answer. I wish I did. If I did, I'd be a millionaire right now. John and I have been dealing with that through our jobs. I've gone to these houses where you've got to, if your parents aren't motivated getting your kid to school, how's that kid going to go to school? My wife and I had to motivate our sons to go to school. So we've got to come up with a way to get our parents involved, our community involved, and that's a very, very tough task. It's not, we can't put this back on the administrators, we can't put this back on the truant officers. We've got to get community involvement. It starts in our community. And if we and we do that by reaching out to the parents. I know when I was a juvenile officer, I spent a lot of time on the phone with parents. John and I have gone and picked kids up and took them to school. But when you have parents that don't want to participate or motivate, it's very difficult. Thank you. Sorry.
Ms. Hammond.
I really second that. I think that our expectations of teachers and administrators need to match our commitment as parents. Our district has some incredible programs in place. I know teachers who have, I don't want to say bribed, they have motivated kids to come to school with McDonald's. They have bought them alarm clocks. They have called them in the morning themselves. This is not a teacher problem, and frankly, we can't continue to place that burden on our teachers because they don't have the time. So I second, how do we bring this together as a community? How do we bring parents and students and teachers and administrators to the table to figure out how we can support parents? Because I think that's a job that starts at home.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connell.
Yeah, I've had the privilege over the last few months to be an alternate on the culture subcommittee that our school district has. So our school board has subcommittees that we have board representation on, and one of those is the culture committee, which I believe Mr. Ryder and Dr. Larson serve on. So as an alternate, sometimes I'm able to attend those meetings. I have been incredibly impressed by how those meetings run, how they operate, the honesty, the rawness, if you will, that the teachers and administrators in those meetings, the approach that they take. There's no issue that can't be resolved. There's no issue that can't be broached. There's nothing that can't be asked for, and there's nothing that can't be considered. The work is being done by our staff and by our administrators to attack chronic absenteeism, which is the goal of the culture committee. There are action items that they have taken. There are action items that they want to take, and I'm truly looking forward to see the work of that committee and how this board can support that.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges. The Innovative Lift program was created to help students throughout the region develop career or college readiness and leadership skills in industry-recognized areas of certification and credentialing. What do you perceive are the strengths of the LIFT program, and what are some areas in which it could improve?
Can you repeat the last part of your question?
What do you perceive as the strengths of the LIFT program, and what are some areas it could improve?
Well, just like any building, first of all, I'm a huge supporter of the LIFT building. I think that rethinking the wheel sometimes is the way to go, and the LIFT program offers programs to children outside of our district and inside of our district that we were not able to bring to kids 5 years ago. With any program, however, it needs some maintenance, like a car. It needs some revisions. It needs to see what is working, what could work better. In our committees that we speak about, leadership, culture, and academics, we talk about those types of issues every single month that they meet. And if a program's not working, we need to look it over, and just like any program, make the necessary changes to make it a little more fluid.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart, what do you want me to repeat?
Nope, I wrote it down. Okay. And I had the luxury of doing that. He had to listen on the fly, so we're not going to. That's the best part about going second or after that. So, strength of the lift. Like I said, I'm a huge trades guy. I think the strength of the lift is absolutely the fact that we're seeing a shift in the amount of kids that are going to college and are now choosing to go to a trade. So we're better suited to fit those kids' needs or fit those kids' interests as well as the needs of our business in town with the lift building. I would say the improvements would be offer more. Different trades, talk to Lakeland, find out what classes they have that are needing the most bodies that the businesses want, but we also need to make sure that financially we're not overstepping ourselves as far as the taxpayer goes. We can't be outspending and taking that money outside of Mattoon.
Thank you, Mr.
I think LIFT is wonderful. I am not a highly educated person. I have an associate's degree in print technology, and that has given me a very good life. There are kids that don't want to or can't, for whatever reason, go to college. And so for us to be able to provide that opportunity to them is priceless to me. I prefer instead of looking at that as a cost, I look at that as an investment in the youth of this district. One of the things that I would look at stands out to me would be some additional offerings. I see a lot of things going on at Lakeland in the trade world right now that are very successful. And so if we could get an early start for our kids in the district, that would be very good.
Mr. Branson.
Thank you. I think the LIFT program is is wonderful. I wish I'd had it back when I was a student. I've been at Lift Building twice now. I went there last Wednesday, so I wanted to educate myself on it. I went there when it first opened up. I took a tour with Mr. McLean Schaefer. I think it's a phenomenal building. It's a phenomenal opportunity for our kids to come out and go into the trades. And like I think everybody here said, not everybody's going to go to college. It's a great opportunity. I mean, some of these kids are going through the program and coming out making some, impressive figures. I did talk to Mr. McLean Schaefer. Like anything else, they do need to increase their numbers, but we're only in year 3. We haven't even really gave it a try. You know what I mean? We've got to give it an opportunity to succeed before we start badging it. I've talked to Mr. Schaefer. He said he's got a very aggressive recruiting program. He's getting grants. I know when I talked to him last week, he got a $25,000 grant to give students, give scholarships to get kids in that school. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton?
Sure, thank you. Obviously, Lyft has a lot of strengths. I think bringing the additional vocational opportunities to town, having a beautiful facility like that is amazing. I was a parent representative on the curriculum coordinating committee when Lyft was just a glimmer in our district's eye, and so it's been a pleasure to see that come to fruition. And so I do what I can as an individual to help contribute to their success. I'm the founder of the Broadway District, and we had a cookie walk in the fall, and the Lyft culinary class jumped in and helped provide cookies for our community. And so I think it's important that we engage our community experts in their fields to help really beef up these programs. And much like a Futures Day all year long, engage the students and the facilitators there so that these can be really robust programs that will equip our students well into the future.
Thank you. Mr. Arpo?
Thank you. Like everybody else, big fan of Lyft. Lyft blends traditional academics with hands-on trades and really offers incredible opportunities for our kids in the vocational realm. We live in a diverse community, a community that needs to be able to support its local workforce by itself. I think Lyft plays a major role in that by offering opportunities to our kids that they are real world ready to go to work immediately if that is the opportunities they choose. Something I think we can do to improve Lyft is improve the narrative and the culture surrounding Lyft. I think Lyft has kind of become this hot topic issue that you might hear that your real estate tax dollars are going out of district and providing education to other kids. I find that to be incorrect. Lyft offsets 33% of its operating budget. The total monies the school district gets to operate with, 33% of that comes from real estate taxes. Lyft is offsetting your real estate tax burden with the revenue that it's bringing in. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Yes, I agree. I think the facility and having trades is important. Not only is it part of the state law that you have to have a career readiness program for your students, and many of our students are not college bound, clearly. And that this is an opportunity for kids to learn hands-on. They love leaving the high school and getting different opportunities, whether it's at Lyft or Sarah Bush, etc. I do have a couple concerns, and I've asked questions about solvency. We all want Lyft to succeed. However, the tuition, although it is year 3, is $1,000 for out-of-town students. And in 23-24, the cost for tuition was $34.50, which means the taxpayer education money is subsidizing that tuition at around $2,400. So what does that mean? That we have to be managing, we have to measure the Lyft so that we can manage it. The way that we sort of make sure that what we're doing is you keep a very key eye on it to measure it. I'm a small business owner. Their return on investment, budgets, those are really important to us and something that we spend a lot of time on. And we need to do the same for the Lyft. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart? How do you plan to guide our district in navigating the new presidential administration's planned federal policy changes in education, which include the reduction of diversity initiatives, the rollback of protections for neurodivergent and LGBTQIA students, and the broader elimination of the Department of Education's role in supporting public education?
I'm going to be that guy. I missed once you got in there. Could you do that again?
So, you know there are federal changes are coming, and Some of those changes include the reduction of diversity initiatives,
So what was, you say production?
reduction,
Okay.
the rollback of protections for neurodivergent and LGBTQIA students, and the broader elimination of the Department of Education's role in supporting public education.
Okay, well, that's a good one. I want to go last on this one. Wow, let me unpack that for a minute. I'm going to say the best way to approach that, and I'm going to try to roll it all up into one, basically boils down to how you treat people. The world is merit-based, based off of this is what you can provide based on your skill set. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, what you believe. This is the job. Can you do it? And as long as you treat everyone with respect, dignity, that they deserve, those things shouldn't be an issue in my mind. Because everybody deserves to be treated with respect, no matter what.
Thank you. Mr. Erb, you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I'm good. I believe that everyone should have a safe and equitable education. I don't care who you are or what you are. We see a lot of changes coming on. I'm going to be honest, and this is the real part of me. I don't know the answer to that question. There's a lot of stuff with that piece of legislation that's not been rolled out completely. So it's hard for me to have an informed education. What I will tell you is, at the end of the day, every decision that I make will be an ethical and the best decision for the kids of this district.
I think that it comes down to a fair and equal education for everyone, period. It's going to be very difficult moving forward. We're all going to be learning as we go. We don't know what the federal government's going to do. We don't know what the state's going to do. Are they going to challenge our funds? If we don't do this, we don't do that. The bottom line at the end of the day, whoever makes the board here, we have to move forward and make sure every student receives a fair and good education and they're safe in their environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton.
Thank you. These things happen, I think, anytime there's a presidential election, and it can be really scary and frightening for people who don't feel supported at a federal or state level. And I don't think any of us want anyone to feel fearful. We certainly want everyone to feel respected. I really believe that ultimately, regardless of who is in public office, what it comes down to is being willing to have conversations, being willing to learn about each other, to learn about our past experiences and learn about each other's goals. And I think it's important for our district to have clear, consistent policies in place to protect our students and make sure that those are enforced across the board no matter what, so that every child feels safe coming to school.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connell.
Yeah, thank you. Some questions, can have a lot of answers and layers to them. I don't think this is one of those questions. I think it's pretty straightforward, and it's been said in different ways by multiple people. But every student, K through 12, deserves an equal educational experience of the highest level that we can provide. They deserve to feel respected and safe while they're getting that education. And I look forward to supporting all of our students as they go through their educational process.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Yes, thank you. At EIU, we're experiencing similar situations, and I think most importantly, we don't know really what's going to be implemented. But what I feel comfortable and safe knowing is that, number one, as these things roll out, we need to have a listening ear, we need to understand, and fundamentally, we treat every person and its staff, its paraprofessionals, its students with respect, understanding, and if there are challenges or issues that come as a result of new legislation, then we as a board listen, understand, and figure out how do we implement the best policies and understandings so that everyone is safe, they get a best education that's possible, and we handle all students, staff, and paraprofessionals with respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
At the beginning of the year, a teacher gets a classroom, and they've got 20 to 30 kids in each classroom, all from different backgrounds. all from different levels of learning, all from different goals and agendas from their parents. I expect our teachers and our staff to treat every kid in our district with respect, and I don't have any evidence to suggest that they're not. I don't think it's going to change a ton of what we do because we treat our kids like they are our own children. And that's how I want everyone in our district that comes and works for us to treat the children that walk through our doors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Earp, in your view, what are the strengths of the Mattoon School District and what areas need growth?
I think the biggest strength of this district is the teachers, the staff, the folks that get in the grind every day, the folks that want to come in and help our kids. I think that, as some have talked about, we have a budget that's able to support the education initiatives across the board. And I think that if we lean into that and keep those things going down the path that they are, that we can continue to improve everything. What was the second part of it?
What areas are needed growth?
I think improvement is just being some transparency, being able to ask questions of the board and with full attention from the administration and respect, and to get questions when those things are asked. I think that that's important as for the public, for anybody that's asking questions, that we be completely transparent.
Mr. Branson?
I'm going to echo what Mr. Earp said. I think our strengths are we have a phenomenal staff, faculty and teachers, all the way down to custodians. It's a team, and I think they do a phenomenal job. We just need to provide them the tools they need to make it better. As going forward, what do we need to improve? There's always room for improvements. Nothing jumps out at me right off the top of my head other than the fact that we just need to build on what we have. We need to support our teachers. We need to make sure that they know that they're the backbone when this rubber meets the road, and we just need to listen to them and move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton.
Well, I think that one of our strengths is that we are in a district that is always willing to learn and try new things. And I love that we have that growth mindset. I think that we need to be really cautious and make sure that all of the stakeholders are at the table when we're implementing changes and new exciting things to ensure that they're implemented correctly and carefully, because obviously we can't unring that bell, and education is extremely important. So I think it's a strength and just also kind of a cautionary statement. I would like to see a little bit more care and input and transparency as far as how our tax dollars are being spent in the care of our facilities, the buildings, the parking lots, so that we can ensure that those are a source of pride for our community for many, many years to come.
Thank you, Mr. Uphoff.
Yeah, I'll start with the strength. I'm going to echo that our staff is our strength, but more specifically, what I think our staff has that's a strength is their honesty with one another, their honesty with their building administrators, and their honesty with the administrators at the ASC office. I think our teachers, from what I've seen and what I've heard, have a comfortability going to their superior and saying, here's what's happening in my room. How can you help me solve it? I need this. I think that comfortability is there with a building level administrator. I'd like to continue to see that culture grow and remain that way, so that our staff feels comfortable asking for what they need to be successful in their classrooms. A few things I think we'll continue to work on: remain on schedule paying bond payments, which the current business manager has done and will continue to do and budget for. It's been mentioned, continue to build on the academic standardized test scores. Making facility upgrades like Ms. Hampton mentioned, specifically at the middle school. Sorry, I'm not my apologies. Thank you.
Ms. Larson.
Yeah, it's definitely the people, and it goes across from a bus driver to a paraprofessional to a teacher to administration. It is the people that are our best strength. In addition, I mentioned earlier, we have a robust budget and also the opportunity for trades at the lift. Some areas of growth, when talking to recent grads and the students at Mattoon High School, the culture needs some work. For example, there's no valedictorian, salutatorian, and that's upsetting. There's no homecoming king and queen. There's no Sadie's dance. Team massive on the football field. Those are things that meant a lot to students. I've also heard concerns about top-down leadership, that it's a unique leadership here at Mattoon and that people would like something different. Parents have openly complained about access to administration, that they don't receive emails when they want an appointment, they don't get to meet with building principals, and that needs to change, and it needs to change immediately. And overall, we need a higher academic expectation and higher discipline expectation across the entire school district. Thank you.
Mr. Hedges.
I'm going to echo what a lot of people have already said regarding strengths. We have a strong academic funding. We are, like Ms. Hampton said, we're willing to change. Our staff is absolutely wonderful. We have a lot of pathways between college and vocational pathways where children and students can choose what kind of path they want to take out of school. When it comes to weaknesses, we need to stop the infighting on the board. We have committees that we can go to. We can set expectations through policy and procedures in those subcommittees. That's where the real, groundwork begins for changing things that are on the board. The infighting and the surprises in the board meetings affects the morale of all our staff and we need to get back to some of the bare basics as well. And honestly, I'd like to see the sports teams improve by starting at a lower level, going homegrown, having coaches put in place for the younger generation so when they get to the schools, they know what they're running. Thank you. Sorry, I went on.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Again, going last gives me the ability to reiterate what everyone said. We have a very robust budget. We have great staff. But I would say in the last 5 years, I've seen a huge influx in attendance at board meetings, which means you guys are getting involved. And the more that you guys get involved, the better we move forward as a community. So thank you for that. And I think that's a huge strength that we have, is everybody in the community coming together to push the school forward. I would say what needs work is I would also agree that we need to bring the morale of the students up. You talk to people that graduated back here 10, 15 years ago, they loved Mattoon, they loved high school. We're not hearing that necessarily from a lot of the kids now, so we need to figure out how to build that morale back up. And that, in my opinion, that starts from a community standpoint. We need to fill the stands every time those kids are playing. We need to make playing those sports and doing those things for the school exciting again. About time.
Mr. Branson, given the challenges of school district funding and the threat of federal funding cuts, how would you prioritize the budget to ensure that students receive a high-quality education?
That's a very good question. Going forward, that could be some issues. You know, we're working the job that I've done for my career last at Mattoon Police Department and now Lakeland College. I've worked with budgets the last 20 years. And, you know, we always look forward to, I work in the world of state and federal funding. I was with Mattoon, we literally had enough money for pencils and paper clips because we were laying people off. So you have to be very cautious when you're moving forward with the taxpayers' money. You need to make sure that things that get funded are important. If they hit the most needs. Education obviously will be the top priority. We also need to look forward. We need to make a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. We need to project out. I'm not sure if the school does that currently right now, but that's something I would recommend we do. I think it's going to be some tough years coming with these new federal laws going into effect. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Hampton.
Thank you. Could you repeat the question?
Given the challenges of school district funding and the threat of federal funding cuts, how would you prioritize the budget to ensure that students receive a high-quality education?
Great question. So I think that one key step to this is ensuring that we as a board are extremely transparent in where the money is going to begin with. So there's a state statute that requires that budget hearings are held outside of school board meetings. They're open to the public and the public is able to ask questions. That has not happened in our district. And so I think if we start with having regular itemized budgets that are presented so the board can really evaluate that, giving the public the opportunity to see where their money is being spent, then we can really focus on how those dollars are allocated. Programs like Leader in Me cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So I would like to make sure that we're pouring money into our classrooms and into quality curriculum first, and then of course work collaboratively to ensure that we know where each and every dollar is being spent.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connell.
Yes, thank you. Obviously, as you know, if our dollars go down and the school district gets to operate ways, we must prioritize math, English, and science in that order. The core of what we are tasked with is educating our kids in those three subjects, so that would certainly remain the priority. I'm incredibly proud of the work the school district has done currently in the financial situation we are in currently, much due to the work of Ryan Gear, the business manager. And our last financial audit, I believe we got a 4.9 out of 5 on our scale. The school district currently has roughly 155 days of cash on hand, which is an incredible number, something that we will continue to build upon. The goal is 160 next year, I believe. We will remain able to handle the cuts if they come due to our high current financial standing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Larson.
Yes, the top priority for Mattoon School District and our #1 goal is to educate students. Therefore, that's how our budget should be reflected. So if we need to hire additional staff, professionals, social work, school counselors, paraprofessionals to help with the academic achievement, we should do that first. Certainly cutting Leader in Me is an option. Like Angela said, it costs tons of money and lots of teacher time. In addition to that, we need to make sure that we are being fiscally sound stewards. For example, recently we found out that 146,000 property taxes were paid last year for the lift building and other facilities when we could be tax exempt. That was wasted money. We've done that for 3 years. Other properties we've spent 15 to 23 years paying taxes that were not necessary. We need to have public hearings. We need to have line item budgets so everyone understands where every dollar's going so that we don't have these kind of mistakes. In addition to that, we need to prioritize our 1% sales tax so that we improve the buildings, which also have an impact on how students learn, like leaky roofs and bathrooms that don't work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hedges.
Like others have echoed here already, prioritizing students' education in math, English, and science are our most critical points of access. But we as a Mattoon School District are fiscally responsible. And what Mr. Uphoff said earlier is true. An independent audit of our financials scored us out at a 4.9 on a 5.0 scale. If that was a GPA, if we were working on a 5.0 GPA, we would be celebrating that number. But instead, we're not celebrating that number, and we're talking that we're in some sort of crisis mode when it comes to funding, when in fact couldn't be any more opposite of what we actually are. So, to answer your question, those three, but we are in great shape.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
I would say prioritizing the budget. First of all, you need a line item budget every month, and that's not only for transparency for the public, but that's also a checks and balance for everybody on the board. Everybody needs to be able to see what's happening because everybody's going to make mistakes, but if you have a line item budget, you can be assisted in catching those mistakes. And I would say, if we do get cuts, like everybody said, the core academics, obviously, and the personnel are where your money's going to go. Aside from that, you need to start reviewing programs, find out which ones are the most beneficial and which ones aren't, and that's, you go to the bottom of that list and you start cutting. But we need to prioritize, like I said, the education portion of it. We need to get help for the teachers, and we need to make sure that the teachers and the kids have everything they need moving forward.
Mr. Earp?
So unfortunately, I'm well versed in this at being Lakeland College for 29 years. Gone through a lot of budget years where we've had to step back and make some decisions, have some tough conversations. I think that the biggest part of helping through that is that when you bring all the folks to the table and have a positive intent, and just let people know, what's going on, be transparent. You try not to affect your culture with people being scared of job loss and those types of things, but just being transparent, coming through those situations is a strong motivator for me. We, at the college, are facing an enrollment cliff right now. And so those are discussions that are happening. I feel like that we are also going to be facing some enrollment cliff at the Mattoon School District. So those are conversations that if we have the right positive intent, that we can work through together.
Thank you. Ms. Hampton, why should we vote for you? What skills and unique qualities would you bring to the school board?
Sure. Well, I think I would echo a little bit of what I said earlier, but first and foremost, it's been a priority of mine for many years to be engaged in the process, not just what's happening at the board level, but what's happening at the school building level. And I really think it's important that every person in this district who wants to have a voice has a voice. From a practical standpoint, as I mentioned, I kind of live and die by two things every day, and that's deadlines and data. It's just an important part of what I do. And then building relationships and building bridges throughout the community. And all of those things are really important as a school board member. Not just building bridges with each other, but obviously with our administration and with our teachers. And being able to truly look at what the data is and how that impacts us as a community, and then how we can set goals that make sense for our district. So I think those are the more practical skills that I would bring to the table, and certainly just a desire to help our district continue to improve.
Mr. Oka.
Thank you. It would be my wish that if someone were to bubble my name in, it would be because of the values that I hold close to my heart. When I look at our current board, I see people from a lot of different backgrounds and ages on it currently. I think that's certainly a benefit to it, hearing different opinions and views. I think some people on our current board lack the ability to put past grievances behind them and put the true priority of what a school board should be doing at the forefront, which is supporting our kids and supporting our teachers. Our meetings can't continue to be the mockery, I guess I would use, that I believe that they've currently become. I think the values that I bring, things like respect, maturity, and honesty, is kind of a way to combat that, and I would be blessed to continue to bring those to the table. This school board needs teamwork, not theater. We need proposals, not airing grievances out in an open meeting. We need solutions, not reckless speculation. Thank you.
Ms. Larson.
Yes, as an educator, I have lots of skills that I bring to the table, which includes proven teaching methods that work. I've heard lots of different times that, oh, we don't use textbooks, we don't do tests that are paper and pencil. My son at Lakeland does. I do in my EIU classroom with graduate students. And that is something that I will help with the academic situation. I call it a crisis because our scores are incredibly too low for what we have to offer here at Mattoon. In addition to that, I'm an advocate for the community. I have great relationships with many community members, and I put teachers and students first. I also, one part of my publication in Time Magazine is I published on how to help students with skill sets in order to not only take tests, but be life ready, and that's incredibly important. I ask hard questions, and I think that takes a confidence. It also is an important part. I hold the administration accountable, and that is necessary. It is necessary in every education. In addition to that, honesty and integrity is what I bring to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hedges.
Why you should vote for me? Because I want what's best for the long-term success of the Mattoon students. I want our teachers to be able to do their job and let teachers teach. Let them do what they are best at. We are the bridge, the board is the bridge to the community and to the teachers who teach our students. I'm open to all ideas. I'm very open-minded. I will always have a respectful conversation with you, and we may disagree at the end of the day, but I will treat you with respect and listen to what you have to say, even if at the end of the day we may not necessarily agree on the end goal. Thank you.
Why you should vote for me? I'm not very good at tooting my own horn, so this is probably not going to be a very good answer. But I pride myself in the ability to approach problems from multiple viewpoints. I do this at work all the time. We get feedback from all different angles. I'm very straightforward. I'm not going to hide what I'm thinking. And so when we do approach these problems, like John said, we're going to disagree, but we can disagree and we can route it in a way that is productive and moving forward. I also want the best for not only the community, because I plan on living here for the rest of my life, but I want the best for the kids, because those kids are going to be this community moving forward. So we have to figure out what it is to get those kids where they need to be and get the school where it needs to be, to get those kids to the goal and to the end point that we want for them and that they should want for themselves. Thank you.
Mr. Herb.
I come from a background of education. When you talk about the college versus the district, there are a lot of things that line up. I'm a strict budgetarian in my department. I run a very good budget in my department. I want to bring those principles to the school district. I'm a solid, real guy. I think that people would tell you that anybody in this room would not refute that. I work with others very well. I'm even-tempered. And I want to give back to the schools that have given so much to my children over many, many years.
Mr. Branson.
Thank you. Well, I've been in public service for 35 years, as I said earlier. I've worked very closely with our community throughout my career. I've learned throughout my career that in order to get things done, you have to motivate people, police officers, community, etc. My kids are gone. They're 29 and 25. I'm here for all the kids. I'm coming back to serve the community. I want to be part of our community. I want to make our community grow and be better. Education's first. When we have strong schools, we have a strong community. And it's very important to me to see that our school district grows and goes in the right direction. And I think what we have to do is bring back, and some of these have already said, we need to bring back teamwork. We need to stop the inner fighting. We need to go back to where the rubber meets the road, and we all need to work together. We're doing the children no good by arguing. We're doing the children no good, but we're not teaching them anything. We need to work together as a group and move forward for the school district, and I think I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the last question, and then we'll have closing. Mr. Epple, in recent years, it has been increasingly difficult to fill teaching positions in fields such as math and foreign languages. How do you propose to attract, retain, and support highly qualified teachers in the district?
I think that's a great question. I think I'll speak specifically from a board perspective. If I graduated from the U of I with a high school math teaching degree, and I went on the internet, and I looked up schools within 60 miles of the U of I, and I went to their Facebook pages or I went to their YouTube pages, and I started to do research on the schools that I might be interested in that were applying. And I clicked on the Mattoon School District's YouTube page, and I watched the school board meeting. I would get 10 minutes in, and I would go to Shelbyville, and I would look at their school board meetings, so I would go there. I think the culture of this board can be improved with more teamwork, with more cooperation, with more respect for one another, that when they do research to come to schools like ours, that they are supported by the board that they're working for. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Larson.
Yes, I think recruiting teachers has got to be a top priority. Having qualified, certified, or licensed teachers are necessary. That is the backbone, and our goal is education. So there are several things that we can do to recruit them. Number one, we need to increase discipline and have consistent discipline, because teachers have a difficult time teaching if we are not having classrooms that are managed. In addition to that, teachers and employers are looking at the Illinois report card. You could get a really good glimpse of what's happening at Mattoon School District by looking at the Illinois report card. So improving academic performance is necessary in order to help with recruiting. In addition to that, we pay very well as a district, and this is a contractual thing, but one of the things that we do at EIU is there are incentives for recruiting and also for retention for tenure faculty. And that is something that I would absolutely like to explore, and we've had a lot of success with that. Thank you.
Mr. Hedges.
I would agree with Ms. Larson on several of her points. We need to increase the discipline. We need to make teachers happy to come to work. Police department has the same issue. Sometimes it's a revolving door over there. Sometimes somebody's looking out the window at what's the best next opportunity. I want the next best opportunity to be at the Mattoon School District. We need to promote from within. We need to keep our teachers happy with steady contractual raises. And we need to put them in a room and discuss culture. What's the things that make you happy? What's the things that we could be doing better? What is the things that brought you here in the first place? And we need to continue to do those things. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart.
I would say the best way to attract teachers is the way we all approach a job. We look at it first with wages. We look then at the work conditions, the culture, and the work environment. As was said before, we do pay well here, but we always need to revisit that and make sure that we're going to be competitive with our wages. From a culture standpoint, we need to make sure that the environment that the teachers are having to work in and the discipline and everything, that they have the support of the administration. Because as a teacher, if you've got discipline issues in the classroom and you don't have the support from the administration, it makes your life miserable. You can't teach, you can't control the classroom. You're focused on the kids misbehaving, and the other kids can't focus on what they're supposed to be doing because we've got disruption. So change the work environment. Make sure that our teachers aren't being asked to fill in for people calling out. We need to make sure that we have subs in place, and I know we're talking about how to get those in, but the work environment and the extra work that these teachers are having to do is causing that work environment and that morale to go down.
Thank you. Mr. Erb.
Brandon's exactly right on those issues. It's exactly what I was going to say. I think that we have to provide support where these teachers want to come and be part of what we're doing. We want to treat folks how we want to be treated. And if we put them in situations, for instance, exactly what I was going to say was that if a teacher has to deal with the discipline of one child, it's what's going on with the other kids in that room. I think we need to provide some help along those lines with some additional support people to handle those situations. As I talk with teachers throughout the district, those are some of the main complaints. And as we look at those types of things, I think the culture and changing those types of things will help attract teachers to this district.
Mr. Branson.
Well, I'm going to echo a lot of what they just said. But one thing I've learned from walking, canvassing this town, I've talked to a lot of teachers, and the same thing comes up every time, is some of these classrooms are out of control. What we need to do, we need to make an environment where we cannot control what a young man or young lady does in their house. But they need to understand when they come through those glass doors, this is what we expect. And we need to take a zero tolerance. Obviously, I'm in law enforcement, and I believe in accountability. And if we do that, it will create an environment for our teachers that can teach. We need to support our teachers, and the first thing is we've got to make them feel safe in the classroom. And the students as well. I mean, when you have a child that disrupts the classroom or is acting out in the hallway, we need to take immediate action against them. We need to make sure that the teachers understand that we're with them, and we need to set an environment in place that they know if a student acts up, we're going to act on it. And I think that's been lacking a little bit here. Thank you.
Ms. Hampton.
Thank you. I don't want to be too repetitive. I mean, some of these issues obviously are societal issues that we can't fix in 1 minute, but certainly we need to make sure that our teachers and administrators feel supported in their ability to be consistent with discipline. I do think I was a little shocked at the pay disparity that I see between our new younger teachers and our more experienced teachers in administration. It's going to be tough for them to make a living on what they're making in their first 5 years of teaching. So certainly that's something that needs to be discussed. But from a more practical standpoint, I focus in my personal life on helping to build a community that has a robust local economy, that has a vibrant energy, it's a vibrant community, so that people want to come and invest in our community by teaching in our district. So I think there are things we can do as board members, and there are things we can do in our everyday lives as well. That's where my focus would be.
Thank you. So we'll move to closing statements, and we'll start with Mr. Erb.
So I looked at, I'm not a politician. Okay, it's the first time I've ever done anything like this in my life. I looked at this a little differently, and I don't think anybody on this board would be offended by me saying this. I met with every candidate, and there was a couple of reasons I did that. Some of them I met longer than the others, some were quite long. And I wanted to sit down and I wanted to find out what their thoughts were. Just to explore things, obviously I don't know everything, they don't know everything, but we put our heads together on some things. There were some things that we found out that we had assumptions about each other that we were wrong. And so I wanted to sit down and just gather thoughts. The other part of that was to say, hey, we don't know who's going to be elected, but if we're working together, how can we make that positive? How can we work together to be able to solve problems for the kids of this district? And I'm happy to report that those conversations were good. They were. And, saying tonight, a couple of last things I'll say is, we don't know who's going to be elected here, but if I'm elected, I will, no matter who your favorite candidate is here tonight, I will be your representative if I'm lucky enough to be elected. And at the end of the day, we are all good people. We just have a little different view of how to get things done. And I also want to say that I appreciate this community support right here, because you folks coming out shows me that we do have a support system for the kids of this district. Last thing I'll say is thank you to the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. Mr. Brinson.
Thank you. Well, I think when I'm moving forward, I'm here to committed to student success. That's the #1 priority. I'm also here to support the teachers and staff, because I think that's where the rubber meets the road. I think that's where we're going to gain traction and moving forward. Parental community involvement, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one, but I think we need to work. We were talking about truancy earlier, but I would like to be on some kind of committees with the school district if I'm elected to try to work toward that. I've had experience working with our community throughout my whole career. It can be done. It won't be done for everybody, but I think we can bring our community together and our parents together, and we can get them involved. And it's a lot of work. I mean, that's not an easy task, but we've got to move forward to do that. And I would love the opportunity to work with the community. I've had experience of doing that. Responsible budgeting. I've handled almost a $6 million budget with the city of Mattoon. I know budgeting responsibilities. I think we have to use our money wisely, and I would be a very good custodian of our budget, because I understand it. School safety. School safety is a top priority to me. We have a very robust safety system in place with the school district, but I would like to have the opportunity to work with the school district to make it better. I will say that 2 weeks before the school shooting in 2017, we just had a meeting with the school district. We had our safety meeting, and our plan worked. We played out. We got lucky in a lot of respects, okay? But our plan worked out. We worked with our community. We worked with the police department. We worked with the school district. We moved forward. So what I think I can bring to the table is teamwork. I've worked with employees my entire career. I know how to get people motivated. Most of the time. But we need to work together as a team. We need to gain traction, and we need to work together as a team. And if I'm given the opportunity, I would love the chance to do so. Thank you.
Ms. Ham.
Thank you. Thank you all again for being here tonight. I think we've had some discussions tonight about diversity and respecting people from all different backgrounds, and I think that our board needs to be a reflection of that desire. Right now, 3 of our board members were actually appointed to the board, not elected. And so I think it's important that our board has a balance in different careers, different genders, different backgrounds, different beliefs, so that we truly represent the community. Because really our opinions are built on our past experiences, our current situation, and our future goals. And so I think it's great to have individuals who can bring that to the table, who have been elected by our community. The same thing with the committees. We've mentioned some committees that are great to have, but if we're just handpicking certain people for committees, then I don't think we're getting a true picture of what the community wants and needs. So again, I hope that we can elect a board of people who love our community, who want to ask questions respectfully and answer them respectfully, have open conversations when necessary, and really just be a true representation of our community as a whole. So I look forward to continuing to have those conversations and continuing to learn about our teachers and administrators' perspective on the strengths and weaknesses in the district, and figuring out new and exciting ways that I can help build bridges between our local businesses and community members and our school district, because I think there's a lot of value in that. I think it will help us continue to build an even stronger school district.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Uphoff.
Thank you. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters for hosting us this evening. This town has given me so much. These schools, the community as a whole, as I said in the beginning, really shaped who I am today. That's why I'm running for the school board on April 1st, to give back and help build a strong future for Hannah and I's future child and for all the future kids in the Mattoon School District. I believe our school board should reflect the values of our community, things like respect, professionalism, and a shared commitment to excellence in education. To me, that means working together to improve academics, making responsible financial decisions, and ensuring that our students have the opportunities that they deserve. I believe that to achieve these goals, we must work together. We have to be unified in our mission, to collaborate while making decisions that are in the best interest of our students, their families, and the Mattoon taxpayer. Not unified without civil disagreement, but unified in that mission, in our mission. It's not a secret that I'm younger than the other candidates. I see that as an advantage to this board. In fact, I can't think of a better reason to sit on this board than the fact that I was walking the halls of Mattoon High School just a few years ago. I have sat in those classrooms. I've walked those halls. I've been to those games. I know what it means to be a Wildcat and a Green Wave. We need strong leadership on this board that puts students first, supports teachers and families, and keeps our schools moving forward in a positive direction. So tonight, for one of the last times, I am asking for your vote. Let's work together to make Mattoon schools the best they can be for every student, every family, and for the future of our community. Thank you.
Ms. Larson.
Yeah, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight. Very much appreciative. Thank you again for all of the community members for coming out tonight to listen to this discussion. I hope you've learned some things and have more questions. If so, please reach out to me and the other candidates for any clarification needed. I'm not from Mattoon, but this is my children's hometown, which is why I began serving Mattoon 11 years ago. And over the last 4 years, here are a few things I've accomplished on the school board. Number one, I fought for transparency. As a community, we deserve to know what is going on in our district. Implementing live streaming at the school board meetings. 2, requesting discipline reports, although it was met with a lot of resistance. Currently, we are not receiving our return on investment for education, so asking lots of questions about that. Number 2, holding the administration accountable. It is key for the community's trust. I have raised concerns about conflict of interest. Also, holding how the district awards business. Number 3, I've raised concerns with the solvency of the lift building. It is about keeping our commitment to the community, but also making sure it's successful for years to come. 4, I've advocated for students, adding school counselors at the elementary school level at Riddle and Williams. Our school board has problems. You've heard some of those tonight. There is a lack of discussion at our meetings. We have seemed to have lost our system of checks and balances. 3 of our current board members, as already been discussed, have been appointed, which means this circumvents the election process for you as community board members. My work is not done, and I look forward to serving you over the next 2 years. You, the voters, have a chance to make a difference and raise the standards of our school. Please use your voice and vote. Remember, I'm a write-in candidate, so you will literally have to write my name in on April 1st. Thank you.
Mr. Hedges.
Yes, thank you for all attending tonight. So, in the last 20 years of working at the police department, working for the school district, being on the board, I've realized one real simple truth of everything, that success looks different for every single person. It may be at work, somebody who's addicted to a narcotic who's now clean. It may be a child who lived his entire life in poverty and now has got a successful job in the trades or is the first person to graduate college. Success knows no starting line or finish line. It's a continuous lap around the track. In the last 5 years, I've helped put an officer or a retired officer in every single school on our property. We have opened the Lift Center, which gives endless opportunities to our students throughout our district. We have endless opportunities at the high school as well. We have a welding program that is amazing. Talk to some of those kids in that program if you get the opportunity. We are fiscally responsible. We have a 4.9 out of 5 from an independent accounting office who does this statewide for districts throughout our state. Being on a board is just not coming to a meeting every month. It's going to the committee meetings, the leadership meetings that I'm on, the collective bargaining committee that I'm on. It's doing walkthroughs at the school. It's not taking everybody for their word, but seeing it for yourself. I bring character, integrity, and I believe compassion to our school district, and I appreciate your vote between now and April 1st. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, you get the last word.
The last word. Well, first of all, thank you all for coming. Thanks to the Women's League voters for putting this on. I think that they should do this for every election. I think it's very positive for the community, positive for the voters. It gives us a chance as a group to get up here and kind of let you get to know us, because let's be honest, if all you saw was us on Facebook, I mean, it's just nasty. So again, thank you for coming out. I appreciate that. I would say the lasting impression that I want you to leave is I didn't decide to run to leave things the way they are. I don't think any of us did. We all want to move this forward in a positive direction, and I think we do that by making the culture at Mattoon and the culture in our community one that everybody talks about FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. We want to make a culture in Mattoon that people are afraid that they're going to miss out on if they're not here, whether it be school attendance, whether it be ball games, whether it be the classroom. We want to make sure that the teachers are supported, the students are supported in those endeavors, and we can do that through a multitude of things. But first of all, we need to be transparent and true to the voters, whether it be with how our discipline's handled, whether it be policies that we put in place as a board, whether it be our tax dollars being spent. We all know that we're taxed to death currently. So we need to make sure that we're being as fiscally responsible as we can, reviewing programs, reviewing the budgets every month, and making sure that if we have cuts or if we have extra money, that they're either cut back and moved to places that they're needed. But again, I ran for this board because I want to take what we have currently and I want to build on it in a positive direction. And like John said, please go out and vote. Find a friend that hasn't voted between now and April 1st. And by all means, do your civic duty and vote to the best of your ability on who you think would do best for you.
Thank you. Finally, we're going to conclude. With a word from the League of Women Voters of Coles County.
Again, I'm Jan Allison. I'm with the League of Women Voters for Coles County, and we really just want to thank our candidates again for showing up and letting us know how you feel. It's very important. Every vote counts. Every voice matters, and I think this really helped establish for a lot of voters where everyone stands. So thank you again, and thank you for being patient with us. This is our first event, so we learned some things, and we'll know how to do them a little differently next time if we need to. But we appreciate you guys coming out and helping us. Thank you very much. A quick word about what you will see on your ballot, because it is confusing. There are 4 seats open. One is for a 2-year term. The other 3 are for 4-year terms. The highest vote getter in the 2-year race will win, regardless of the vote totals of the other candidates. However, only 2 seats total can be filled by someone from Mattoon Township. There are 4 candidates for Mattoon Township. That means if you vote for more than 2 candidates from Mattoon Township, your vote for that office will not be counted. So it's important to know going in how your ballot reads, and we do have a sample ballot out in the lobby if you'd like to look it over. You can vote for people from other townships. You don't have to vote for someone from every township. You don't have to vote for 4 candidates. If you have questions about your ballot, please reach out to the county clerk's office because it's important that they know that the process might be streamlined or there's a lot of questions in the same vein, and maybe that will help them going forward creating ballots. As a reminder, early voting is open until March 28th at the Coles County Courthouse in Charleston from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And at the Mattoon Presbyterian Church from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can vote on Saturday, March 29th at both locations from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Election day is April 1st. You can find your voting precinct location on your voter registration card or by going to the Coles County Clerk website. Please get out and vote. It's important. Like I said, every vote matters, every voice matters. This is not just our future, but our children's future and how our community will be operating in the education forum from now on. So it's great to see so many faces come out. We want to thank Aaron Dodson, back in the back, for helping us with sound and microphones and all of that with his corporation or his company, Dod Sound Productions. Got it that time. And then we also want to thank all of our volunteers. We had some Lyft students come out and help us tonight. We want to thank all of the teachers who have come tonight to hear voices. It's just great to see the community get so involved. So again, thank you everyone for coming tonight. This was a great event and we hope to do it again in the future. Thank you.